Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Eddie Marcus, spokesman and advocate of basic human rights for all people. This morning, and it is morning, it isn't daybreak yet, I'm up making a presentation to you the day after the world's notorious liar stood before the American people last night talking about the lies and everything that is projected before the American people. And I say notorious liars because half of the population knows exactly what he is, a notorious liar, so I'm calling him a con artist. And yet half of the other nation, half of the same nation stood with him, backing him up, supporting everything that was done. The reason that I'm here, I didn't listen to the speech last night. Most people who knows that he's a liar didn't pay any attention to it. If they didn't have to be in his presence, if they didn't have to listen to what he was saying, they would not listen. And so this morning, lying asleep, and then the news pops up on television with repeating the stuff that he was saying last night, caused me to have to get up out of bed. I hadn't planned on saying anything about it, but it made me sick in the stomach. So I find myself here speaking to you. And I say to you this, ladies and gentlemen, because if you never felt what the Tea Party must have felt when Barack Obama came into office, for those of you who can't stand Trump, that's exactly how the Tea Party felt when Barack Obama came into office. Now they felt this way because they believed that Barack Obama, being a black man, being representative of the people who have suffered so much, not just only in this nation, but around the world, that he was going to do great things for the minority. They felt that their prosperity was absolutely threatened by what he was going to do. And so the Tea Party rose up and they did everything they could to prevent everything. And in the process, they made sure they set the agenda up so that in order for it to be carried forward, in this presidential term, it would require the greatest liar. And so when he sits up and lies to you, the American people, those who support him think that it's okay. They call it being smart, not knowing what the president is going to do to keep you off track. You don't know whether he's going to respond to this, he said, or whether he's going to respond to that, he said. Now, he's supposed to be representing you, but he's misleading you, and he got support of the people, many of the people, right along with him. Now, that's an absolutely sick thing, but sick or not, that's the way it is. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to mention that to get some foundation for what I'm saying here today. What I really want to say is this. You, the American people, are really in a terrible fix. You are really in a terrible fix. You are at odds with one another. And you will always be at odds with one another because you are human expressing your choice. You have free will. You are human expressing your choice. And your choice is real to you. In other words, you're individuals. And each of you got your own concept of what should be, regardless of what's been said. You've been observing what is, and you've either agreed with it or disagreed with it. And so we have what we think is our own opinion. And our opinion falls into one or two of these categories because these two categories have been cut out, carved out, and set there for us to make a choice. And our choices have been, for the most instances, especially in this presidential situation, is politics, democracy, Democrats, and Republicans. Here's the catch, ladies and gentlemen. Except for those who know that they're lying, straight up lying, and even those who think lying is the proper thing to do, they believe that the direction of the path that they're on is absolutely what is necessary. The thing that made so many people sick to hear this liar speak last night is that there are so many poor people in the world. You can't trick poor people. Poor people know if you care or if you don't. You can say anything you want to say, but when they're still poor, they know everybody's lying. If you are poor, you know that everybody that's standing up there is lying. Nobody is telling the truth as long as you are poor. No one. No one. And so I say at the same time, when the Democrats come in, you got another half of the nation upset for the same reason that you had them upset with the Republicans. You're at odds. You don't know the truth. The truth was designed to put you in this bag so you can search for the truth, so that you can learn the truth. It is only the truth that will set you free. Walking around with Republicans and Democrats in this country, you know darn well you're not free. So what should that tell you? That should tell you that you don't know the truth. Now, I have been given some insight that I have to share with you, and I share it with you because I was given this insight. I didn't make a deduction and came up with this. But it says to me that since we all exercise our choices, and our choices represents where the relationship, the systems that we live on every day, it tells us that something needs to be done. And this is why we have different people coming up saying, I'm a better Democrat, I'm a better Republican, I'm a better this and I'm better that, because you think you are. But you're not. You're not part of the solution. You are part of the continued problem. And the people really hope that you are what you are or what you say you are, but in reality, you aren't. Now, why aren't you that? For the same reason I think I used in one of my videos, that this is the school of life. When you come into the world, you don't know anything. But every day, from the day you get here to the day you go out, you are influenced by the things that you hear, by the things that you see, and by everything that you're exposed to in life. It helps to shape and form who you are. And in that shaping and forming, you begin to go to school, you begin to learn. This is for your development of your mind, so that you can make better choices, you see. And so the more education you get, you think the better choices you can make. You have always also said that by getting this education, that makes you better thinkers, that you have a better mind, and you're better prepared to deal with the common problems of the day. That's why you get your education. But you're still getting education according to human choice, human exposure, the human mind. And what you have not recognized, for some strange reason you don't hear this, is that college and all of this is not the only education. There's another education in place that you are not even aware of, but it is. And that's the spiritual. You got the self, the carnal realities, absent the spiritual reality. And what is going on right now is giving human beings a chance to exercise their greatness. As you heard some people say, I'm the greatest president that ever lived. Others have said even bigger lies than that. But the whole thing is that regardless of how great you are, how white you are, how black you are, how poor you are, how rich you are, you still do not have an answer to these problems. And when I say have an answer to these problems, I'm talking about the big picture is this, that every human being on the face of the earth wants peace and prosperity in their life. Every individual on the face of the earth requires certain things for survival that many of them are so destitute in having. And yet, this is the reality of that carnal human choice-making, physical mind, absent the spirit. You see, in the spirit, the concept is love. In the carnal way, the concept of getting people bought and tricked is bait them with money. Money. All of the people who thought that Barack Obama was going to give away their stuff, going to give away their money, they wasn't going for that. No, he's going to give away our money, redistribute wealth, and you weren't going to go for that. You hated your guts. No love at all. No love. That's why you're divided. You were tricked, and you don't know anything about love. And not having any love. Now, many of you have come together because of the issues that are important to you. Not because of love, but because of issues that are important to you. And so you perpetuate the continuation of these vile things that really is destroying this nation. What would the Spirit, the truth, say? The Spirit says that all of you human beings who are running around think you're the greatest on the face of the earth, you didn't make it. You didn't make anything that's in it, on it, or above it, seen or unseen, that is essential for the preservation of human existence on earth. You'd have nothing to do with that. Not even your human being just being here. You had nothing to do with that. See, the Spirit knows that. Apparently, you don't. So the Spirit knows what you are capable of and what you must do. And so this process has been set into place because this process is essential. What you will learn is that I don't care how smart you get as a human being, what choices you make, you will always be trodden in slop. You will always be trodden in mess. So, what are you supposed to learn? The hope is that, and will happen one day, that you will learn that in all of your righteousness, all your democratic righteousness, in all your conservatives and Republican righteousness is nothing but filthy rags in the relationship of what the Master designed to exist. And so I'm telling Republicans and Democrats and all of you other folks out there who don't know this, that yes, you are God's people. He made you. But you're so far from God, it's a crying shame. The evidence is all around us. There's no doubt the evidence is all around us. But the purpose is to let us know, to bring us back to God, to bring us back to truth, to tell us without a doubt that in order to have peace and prosperity, you have to love. You have to treat people like you want to be treated, and if you don't ever do that, you are as far away from God as you want to go your way. But in order to get what you want, you got to come back to God. Now, you don't hear this from the education system. You don't hear this from the church. Now, many of you say, well, I do go to church, and I should know. But see, in the church, they teach you the same line. They got the same attitude about life as everybody else. They are humans just like you. They are carnal just like you. They have no connection with the Spirit just like you. They get information about a spirit that means nothing to them, just like speaking Spanish to an English-only speaker, or Russian to a Chinese-only speaker. You have no idea what's going on. You just think you do. You just pretending. You just lying to yourselves. And all of those standing before you are just lying to you. Just lying. You are caught up in a trap. You are being conned. Now, what is it going to take to bring you back from where you're at to the spiritual side? Well, it appears that it might require suffering. It's a sad thing, but as long as you got what you think is great, money, you're not bending to anybody. Let me say that again. As long as you got what you think is great, money, you are not bending to anybody. You are willing to go to a world war that would blow the whole dead blasted earth up before you turn it loose. And that might be necessary in order for you to learn the truth. But the truth is, the peace and prosperity that you're seeking, you will never receive it until you wake up. And when I'm talking about waking up, I'm not talking about as a group. I'm talking about as an individual. This is an individual thing. You cannot be taught this by any other source except the Spirit. You cannot be taught this by others. This message that I'm telling you right now is just a message. It will mean nothing to you until you have had a relationship, when you have come constantly face to face with the Master, and the Master just make a discernment to you. Other than that, it's just talk. But I'm talking because I want you to know the truth. I'm talking because I know the truth to this degree. I don't know the whole truth, just to this degree, and I'm sharing it with you. So when you go to church on this Sunday, if you can't stand up and say that what is going on in the world is an indication that not only whites and blacks and men and women and, you know, this Me Too thing, this latest thing that's come on the scene, it's all the response or reaction to another action that was just as detrimental as this action that you're about to take now, because it's leading you nowhere. It wouldn't make any difference if you got so mad you put women in the presidency and put them in all of the positions of power that there is. It would be no better than what we have right now. The truth is, you are not God. Until you respect that, you'll never be happy. Now, when I say you're not God, I'm saying to know that you're not God, to know that no one else is God, then that means to give and yield yourself, yield your allegiance to God. and act according to what God would want. I know many of you think that the most important thing to do is to come here and get a job and make as much money as you possibly can. You can be happy. That could be the worst thing that you could possibly do in the human form, in the human experience, because it takes you further and further and further away from God. Do you think, I know rich people think they're closer to God, and many of you who are poor might think the rich are closer to God because you're seeking to get what the rich have. But you're not, the richer you get, the further you're getting from God. That doesn't mean that the poorer you get, the closer you're getting to God. It doesn't mean that at all. It just means that you got two different perspectives, and you're in two pastors. And when I say pastor, I'm talking about grazing ground. And neither one of them is God. This is the life lesson that you're put here to learn. And when you do that, you are willing to die before you're concerned about getting all the money, before you're concerned about getting all the cars and all of the houses with all of the rooms and all of the bathrooms upstairs and wearing all of the super fashions and all the jewelry around your neck and all the diamonds on your fingers and everybody loving you, traveling the world and owning your jets. When you know the truth, you turn your back on all of that and go for the truth, even if it means it is time for you to get out of here. And what does that really mean? It means that it is graduation time. Graduation means that you learned your lesson and now it's time to move on to the next step. I just did a video called graduation, so I don't want to make a mistake of renaming this graduation time, though I mentioned it. The title that I've chosen for this particular speech is A World-Class Liar on the World Display. Thank you very much.